As soon as I heard about it, I knew right away, sir. A case for the yard, I said.
It certainly sounds so. Is that the cabin over there?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone entered it, to your knowledge?
No. One look, and then they ran down to the station. I knew right away, sir.
Yes, of course. You did absolutely the correct thing, Constable. Absolutely. Right. No one is to touch or move anything inside until I have completed my examination. Do you understand?
Yes, Inspector Hopkins.
Well, let's get to it then.
Oh, Lord.
Steady now. These flies. Place is like a slaughterhouse. A slaughterhouse.
Black Peter by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Dramatized for radio by David Ashton. With Clive Merrison as Sherlock Holmes and Michael Williams as Dr. John Watson. And featuring Alex Norton as Cairns and Andrew Wincott as Inspector Hopkins. Black Peter.
I had never known Holmes to be in better form, both mental and physical, than in the year of '95. His increasing fame had brought with it an immense practice, containing a curious and incongruous succession of cases, which ranged from his famous investigation of the sudden death of Cardinal Tosca, an inquiry which was carried out by him at the express desire of His Holiness the Pope, down to his arrest of Wilson, the notorious canary trainer, which removed a plague spot from the East End of London. And close on the heels of these two famous cases came the tragedy of Woodman's Lee and the very obscure circumstances which surrounded the death of Captain Peter Carey.
Molly! Where are you, my little lawful wife wedded? Where are you, my little Molly? Where are you, woman? Elizabeth! Pretty little daughter mine, are you there? Come on out! Come out, or I'll rip the skin off your bodies, and both of you!
Oh, Elizabeth, if he finds us... Mother, it'll be all right.
Are you coming out? Peter Carey, he wants his supper, and he wants it now. I'll only give you a little tap, Molly. Just a little tap, eh? You, little trollop, where are you?
Right here, Father. I wish I had a gun to blow your head off.
No, Lizzie. Hide away, then. Hide away and be damned to you like the rats you are. Damn. God help you! When I catch up with you, God help you! Because the devil won't. The devil won't, you see?
He'll be off to his cabin. He'll sleep then, you'll see. He'll sleep, Elizabeth. It'll be different in the morning.
Will it? He'll still be the same Black Peter. He'll never change. Nothing will ever change here.
Oh, it's getting dark. Let's get back into the house, eh? You wait till the morning. It'll be different.
Yes, I'll wait, Mother. That's all we can do, isn't it? Wait for the devil to come back.
That same night, Peter Carey had a visitor.
Oh, you think I owe you something, do you? You've waited all these years and now you think some payment is due. You come sucking up to me like a parasite. You think you can get the better of Peter Carey, eh? Well, here's a knife. It says different. No!
Any doubt, Mr. Holmes?
Not at all, no. Harpooning's a skill I've yet to master, I fear.
There's more to butchery than meets the eye, sir.
Certainly more to this, I'd wager.
Dear me. Not much of this poor fellow left.
Yeah, nevertheless, Mr. Allardyce, I'm still unable to pierce it through with the one blow. However, last valiant effort. Stand well back, my friend. Not even a master butcher's safe in this arena. My porcine friend. Have at you!
Oh. Perhaps you ought to try lamb chops, sir.
It was the first week of July, and Holmes had been absent so often and so long from our lodgings that I knew he had something in hand. For my part, I had been endeavouring once more to put some order into my papers, and I had come upon some references to our earliest investigations. One of them, The Sign of the Four, provoked powerful memories in me. Certainly some measure of joy, but also a deal of sadness.
Captain Ahab returns.
Good Lord, Holmes. You walked through the street of London carrying that?
Indeed so. I told the one curious policeman it was a toothpick for a whale.
Moby Dick, no doubt.
Now tell me, Watson, would you regard me as a physically weak man?
Anything but.
Yes, and yet if you'd seen me in Allardyce's back room trying to transfix a hanging pig with a single blow and failing most miserably, what would that tell you?
That I'd rather be a live human being than a dead pig. I take it that harpoon is to do with the Carey case that's been in the newspapers.
Possibly.
And these rough-looking fellows who keep turning up to see you here, asking for a certain Captain Basil, would that also be to do with it?
Possibly. Possibly. Ah, what a glorious day. And lo and behold, there's our expected visitor, exactly on time. How efficient some men can be.
Who is this Paragon?
Hopkins.
Ah, yes, the wire last night.
Yes, I have high hopes of Inspector Hopkins. Models himself on me, you know.
Other than that he possesses the same initials, I fail to see the resemblance.
Oh, yes, of course, Stanley Hopkins, yes. How observant of you, Watson.
I have my moments.
Dear me. The summer sunshines fail to lighten your mood, man. What's wrong with you?
Nothing at all.
Come in, Hopkins, come in.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Look a little weary. Would you play with some coffee?
No, thank you. I find coffee overstimulating.
That's what I like about it. Sit down.
I wish I could say why I didn't warm to Hopkins. Perhaps it was his overweening aura of ambition, or perhaps his almost arrogant belief in his own abilities, an attribute more than shared by my friend Holmes. Whatever, it was hard not to feel a little sorry for him, because here he was in charge of his first murder investigation, and, I'm afraid, getting nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere, Mr. Holmes. For the first time in my career, I have no idea what to do.
Well, perhaps you can begin with a little recapitulation. And what you have done.
Oh, gladly, of course. I investigated Carey's past thoroughly. He was a whale and seal fisher, commanding the ship Sea Unicorn out of Dundee. He made a number of successful trips, but then in 1884 he retired, travelled the world for 5 years, then bought a small place in Sussex called Woodman's Lee. There he lived for 6 years.
And there he died. 1 whole week ago, I believe.
Yes.
What of the character of the man?
His nickname was Black Peter. Not so much for the colour of his beard, but for his humours. They were the terror of all around him. I have not heard one word of sorrow for his death.
How did these humours arise?
Well, most of the time he was a silent, gloomy fellow. But he was also an intermittent drunkard and a perfect fiend when the fit was on him. He had been known to drive his wife and daughter out of the house and flog them through the grounds.
Disgraceful. A man who would treat his wife like that.
Carry on, Hopkins.
Last Tuesday, he was in one of his darkest moods, flush with drink and dangerous as a wild beast. The women hid from him. The last they saw of him was his staggering off towards the small outhouse he'd built for himself. He called it his cabin. He slept there every night, drunk or not. Kept the key and allowed no other foot to cross the threshold.
I shouldn't imagine there was a queue.
But someone called that night, did they not, Hopkins? Or do the newspapers lie?
Well, one of the windows of the cabin looks out into the road, and a stonemason, a man called Slater, swears that as he passed by sometime near 1 in the morning, he saw a man's shadow on the blind. Bearded, but not like Carey. Short and bristled forward, he said, but it's a long distance from the window to the road, and the man had been a full 3 hours in the public house.
Not exactly a reliable witness, but a witness nevertheless.
But no trace has been found of this bearded fellow. There was one other incident. It concerned the daughter, Elizabeth Carey.
No, rest, Mother, rest.
Oh, Lizzie,
We are safe for tonight at least.
what'll become of us?
I'll think of something, never fear. Now rest. Good night, Mother.
Good night, dear.
So, the daughter heard a scream, she says, but we only have her word for it. Whatever. In the morning, they noticed the door of the cabin lying open. Such was the fear the man inspired, it was a long time before anyone dared to look inside. And what they saw sent them running.
What had they seen, Hopkins?
I pride myself on my steady nerves, Mr. Holmes, but the place was buzzing like a harmonium. Flies, blue bottles, spinning around in a frenzy. And the blood, it covered the floor and walls. He had it fitted out like a ship's cabin. Maps, charts, a sea chest. On the wall, a picture of the sea unicorn. The captain's room. And there in the middle of it was the man himself, Peter Carey. His face twisted like a soul in torment. His great brindle beard stuck upwards in agony. A steel harpoon had been driven right through his breast, so that it had sunk deep into the wall behind him.
Good Lord.
He was pinned there. Pinned there like a beetle on a card.
Why did you not call for me immediately?
Well, I thought I could...
Solve it yourself.
Yes.
In the meantime, a week has passed by.
I applied your methods, Mr. Holmes, religiously. Every inch of floor and the ground outside I examined with supreme attention. There were no footmarks.
Meaning you saw none?
There were none.
My good Hopkins, I have investigated many crimes, but I've never yet come across one which was committed by a flying creature. Now, there must have been some objects that you failed to overlook, surely.
Of course. But to start with, the harpoon with which the deed was committed had been snatched down from a rack on the wall. And it seemed to me to establish a certain non-premeditation, as if the murderer had seized the first weapon to hand. Also, a bottle of rum and 2 dirty glasses on the table suggested that Carey may well have been keeping an appointment with the murderer. Do you see?
Was there any other spirit in the room?
Whiskey, brandy, both untouched.
Whiskey, brandy, yes, interesting. So, Hopkins, you may tell me the rest of your discoveries on the train.
Train?
Well, I assume you'd like me to come down and have a look at all this?
Well, that indeed would be a weight off my mind.
What? The country air may invigorate you?
I shall come along, though I need no invigoration, thank you. But I'll tell you one thing, Holmes.
Yes, what's that?
Whoever killed Peter Carey may well have done the world a favour.
Of course, there was the tobacco pouch on the table with the initials PC and some rough ship's tobacco inside.
There was no pipe. I noted that from the inquest report.
No. Well, indeed, he smoked very little, but...
Had the case, I would have made that the starting point of my investigation.
But why?
Holmes is very keen on pipes.
I thought you were asleep.
Not yet.
Then there was a knife, was there not?
A sheath knife at the dead man's feet. Mrs. Carey identified it as her husband's.
That would make sense. So, have we completed the haul?
Not quite. The most important I have saved till last, Mr. Holmes. This notebook. I have concealed it so far to avoid alerting the murderer.
I think. Where did you find it?
On the floor of the cabin.
Oh, there's some discoloration here on the cover.
A bloodstain.
Bubble below.
On the side next to the floorboards.
Yes, proving, of course, that the book was dropped after the crime was committed.
Our deductions coincide, Mr. Holmes.
Indeed.
You will observe on the first page the initials JHN. On the second page, CPR. The other pages have various columns of signs and figures.
What do you make of them?
Well, they appear to be lists of stock exchange securities. JHN may be the initials of a broker. CPR, perhaps, is a client?
No. Try Canadian Pacific Railway.
Oh, of course.
My father had a few shares in it.
Oh, what a fool I've been. Well done, Watson.
Thank you, Hopkins.
So, JHN are the only initials we have left to solve. Those of the murderer.
Yes, possibly.
And if these lists relate to valuable securities, we may now have a motive for the murder. The game's afoot, Mr. Holmes.
Is it? Well, I must admit to both your points. Yes, I had come to a theory of the crime in which I can find no place for this. No. This changes everything.